Hi guys, welcome to Tuba Talk, Not So Normal Conversations. I'm Jack, this is Landon, this is TJ, and we're here to talk with you guys today. How's life been for you?
Well, as you can see, we kind of have an upgrade here in the studio.
Yeah, we're in the Mountaintop Studio.
Yeah.
Over in the Ed building here at the church. We added some soundproofing and some lights.
New microphones.
And, well, I mean,
Well,
they're
new for
old.
us.
Yeah, new for us, definitely.
We got a green screen,
Yeah.
so
We
that
look
nasty off-white drop cloth, that was there for one episode that we actually didn't post because the audio was bad.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. So,
Classic.
At this point, when this makes it to the internet land, we will have 3 whole episodes that have never seen the light of day.
Yes, this is like our
Damn.
5th episode, but it'll be the second one
Yeah.
that we post.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's
so
great.
last time's got corrupted?
Yeah, and that was a bummer because we had John on. But
Yeah,
I
that
guess
was
we'll
a-
just have to
That was a
wait.
pretty fun one. It had the wasp. That was
That's okay.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, we definitely have had some great times without you guys, but we're glad that you're here now. So, Landon, you said your week's going okay. Jack, how's your week been?
It has been pretty good. I don't work a lot this week, which is a nice
That's good.
Yeah, you've been-
relax. I'm like, oh wow, what is this? Time off? Time to do stuff I actually enjoy?
It's like a summer
Amazing.
vacation or something.
Crazy. 3 weeks before it ends.
3 weeks. Oh, are you guys really considering going back in 3 weeks? Is that the plan right now?
Well,
Why are you guys
so
going back in 3 weeks?
well for me, I have marching band. So starting August 10th is band camp.
Y'all are gonna be blowing trumpets at each other. You think that's a wise decision?
I don't think it's a wise decision. I was planning on quitting, but our band director made me a section leader, so I had no
Oh,
choice.
Okay, what you should do is you should take everybody, and then at the end of each rehearsal, everybody empties their spit valves into a bucket. And then at the end of band camp, the person who scores lowest on like a chair test or whatever, they have to drink out of the spit bucket. And if they get Corona, then everybody in the band has to pay them $5 each. But if they don't get Corona, they have to pay everybody in the band $5.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
brutal. That is brutal. What if they're immune?
Get some
Well,
professionalism.
find a different person.
Yeah, find a different person.
Just test them real quick to see if they're immune.
If they have a known immunity, they can.
Yeah. What about you, TJ?
My week has been interesting. It's been an interesting week. Our head pastor came back this week from Florida, so that poses some issues. Just
He
because,
was not at the COVID parties, though.
Yeah, he avoided.
So he is
I mean, he hung
not
out with
there.
his own family mostly, but
He is a
they're-
good man,
so,
smart man.
So, from a technical standpoint, this week has been a little bit tricky because we have to like Skype him into meetings and figure out like ways for him to participate from
Are we going to
a
Skype
distance.
him on Sunday?
I think as it stands, yeah, we kind of have 2 options lined up. So either he quarantines himself and then he'll show up and he'll have like a plexiglass shield between him and the congregation, like affixed to his pulpit.
That would be interesting.
Or on Saturday, I may have to call you in, Landon, and we're gonna have to film him
Okay.
Saturday afternoon delivering his sermon, and then we'll just show it. It's supposed to be just for 1 week, and then by next week we'll know for sure whether or not he got the COVID.
Is he getting a
so.
test?
No, unfortunately not. That's what I would have
That's a
done.
bummy.
I would have come home and got a test
Yeah.
right away.
I almost got a test this week
Oh yeah.
Really?
because Monday, I got a sore throat and like a headache and stuff, which are like the very early symptoms.
Yeah.
Which can be very early
Yeah,
symptoms.
can be. And there's anything can be a symptom at this
Yeah.
point. But so I was like, oh my goodness. So I didn't go to work on Tuesday morning, just because I was like, okay, I'll wait it out.
Yeah.
And if it gets worse, I'll go in and get a test. If it doesn't get worse, I won't get a test, and I'll just, what's the worst that could happen? I took a sick day.
Keep calm and
People
carry
take-
on.
Yeah, people take sick days all the time.
Especially now.
Yeah, but so I went into work
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning. Yeah, days are hard. Wednesday morning, And first of all, I showed up an hour early
Oh,
because I wasn't there on Tuesday, so I didn't get to see that they changed the schedule.
got it.
So
yeah.
instead of starting at like 5 like we usually do, they were starting at like 5:30, and I was accidentally extra earlier than normal. So, but apparently I discovered that like in certain like part-time positions, there's like a trend that if you take a sick day, you can't take sick days until you're employed after a certain amount of time. So because I've only been there for a month, me taking a sick day was technically a conduct infraction.
Because your immune
according to the
system
rule.
definitely knows when you worked someplace for 90 days or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to sign like a whole like, I had to go through a meeting on the importance of attendance with my manager and sign like a bunch of official documents saying like, I'm sorry that I didn't come in yesterday, even though I was feeling sick.
Yeah.
So like a sort of slap on the wrist thing, which
What?
made me think about like when I was in elementary school, like going to the bathroom like
Yeah.
during class was like such a huge no-no.
Well,
Was that for you guys?
Well, definitely. I mean, because
Yeah, I mean, they
your
always-
teachers like have time set aside for you to go use the restroom. Like,
Yeah,
for, like before lunch, after recess. Like usually there's like times built in.
Even in high school, they're like, you
Yeah.
have passing period.
Passing
to go to the bathroom.
period. Yeah. So like
3-minute passing.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
our 4.5-minute passing period in which all the creepy kids go to the bathroom.
ooh, creepers in the restroom.
So
You
try
calling me
to-
creepy, Jack?
No, but yeah, so like yeah, if you had to get up and use the restroom in the middle of class, like it was kind of like a big deal.
unless it was an emergency.
Which is a
I feel like
strange.
going to the bathroom is always an emergency.
Yeah.
It's like you have to go to the bathroom.
like,
There's not like levels of
well, and
They,
that's the
they want to
thing.
make you think about it before
Yeah,
you do it.
It's like,
It's like, is it an emergency? It's like, oh no, I just have.
because you either have to go to the bathroom or you don't. Like,
I
Yeah.
remember in first grade there was this kid who would always like fake go to the bathroom, and I don't know what he would do because nobody had phones back then.
yeah.
Like especially nobody.
You
in
just
first
wander the
grade.
halls
Especially,
and
yeah.
like
I know a lot
look
of
at the art.
first graders probably have phones, but
Now, it is
but
really crazy.
back when it was like 2007, and
Phone had just come out.
yeah, iPhone came out in 2007, but nobody had them, and he would go to the bathroom and he would just be gone for like 20 minutes, and like nobody knew what he would do because like he would go to the bathroom and it's not like he would walk around, he would just like sit there. I think it was just like so he wouldn't be in class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that.
So like and he hated me, and he hated me all the way through middle school because we were in the same grade.
Yeah.
We were basically in the same class all the way up until we left and he went to a separate high school. But it was like, so because I was the person that after like 5 minutes, I would have to go in and check on him in the bathroom.
Oh.
I was like I don't know, my
Like-
teacher
Your
made me
teacher's
like the
just like-
bathroom police. and I'd go
Because
and
like
check
your
on
teacher
him.
trusted you to actually like
Yeah.
That's rough.
inform
I would hate being
inform
the
him
rat.
on if anyone
I would
was
hate that
just
to be the rat.
playing around in the restroom.
Yeah, I'd walk in and I'd be like, hey,
Hey,
still
so
in here?
it's been like 5 minutes. The teacher wants you to come check on you. Sorry. Don't hate me.
Don't hate me for
I'm
this.
just
but,
glad I never
Beck,
walked
how are you
in and he
doing?
was just like puking his guts out for like 30
Oh
minutes.
yeah,
I'm
right.
glad that wasn't.
Are you a sympathetic puker?
No.
Jack, are you a sympathetic
I
puker?
don't think so.
I am like 100% a sympathetic puker.
Really?
Yeah. If I
Really?
see someone else puke, I like.
Is it like bad enough to where you would
Oh,
puke, or is it just like a?
No, it's so bad that if people are pretending like they're going to puke, like if they're just like fake gagging, like it like starts to trigger me, and I
All right,
like,
let's test
feel
it
that way.
out. Game theory. Let's test it out.
No, let's
Live
not,
on camera.
please. Yeah.
Let's make TJ puke.
Clickbait or not?
So what's going on in the world of technology, games, entertainment this week that's exciting you guys? Let's move into that a little bit. Comic-Con's this week.
Comic-Con. I didn't realize they were still doing that.
San Diego
Yeah, neither
Comic-Con
did I.
is all online, all free. So today is
That's
the
good.
first day that they did like I think they were planning on doing like 13 hours of live streaming today.
Of just
Of
all the release
yeah, like there's
stuff
like
and-
250 panels they're gonna release,
Dang.
and then yeah, exactly.
Are they going to be? Are
Interviews with
multiple going to be
companies.
going on at a time?
Yeah,
Or,
so
okay.
so it's not
it's just
all
like
at
normal
once.
Comic Con.
Yeah, so it's just like normal Comic
That's
Con.
like what I wish they would have done with E3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
E3 just got like canceled.
yeah,
Yeah, I know.
PlayStation had a thing a couple weeks ago, and then Xbox had their thing today.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Nintendo's
gameplay.
just off the grid.
I think
Classic.
I think that Nintendo constantly goes off the grid,
Yeah,
and then they just come back
disappear.
with genius.
And then they're
so
like,
it's hard
hello.
to complain.
Like,
It's like I see what you
good
did.
job, Ishiro Minamoto.
Yeah, you guys have been hiding
go.
out the good stuff. So yeah, so Comic Con's going on, which is really cool. I know that like, Halo, like 343 Halo,
Yeah.
they released a new trailer today at Comic Con.
And they also
They did do gameplay, right?
Yeah, well, they did gameplay, and they also did testing gameplay for people.
Oh, so people can play it.
Yeah, so like a YouTuber I watch a lot did Halo 2 and Destiny 2, and he just looked at them and he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing!"
Oh my god.
Like they do,
Yeah.
just doing how they do, getting views.
Yeah.
But then there's also the DNI,
The what?
direct neural interface,
Oh, yeah.
The direct neural. Oh yeah.
Neuralink. Elon Musk strikes again.
with genius.
Yeah.
What was the quote?
He said- he claims-
Neuralink can stimulate the pleasure centers of your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, even if you're not happy, this chip would be able to make you, like literally physically make
Yeah.
you happy.
There's
Yeah.
Like
I know they
bring
can
joy
already
to
do
your
that
life.
externally
Yeah.
with like
Yeah.
electromagnetics.
There are certain people that, if you suffer an array of different
Yeah.
disorders and things, they can definitely go into your brain and kind of like reactivate
Yeah.
the pleasure center.
Help you fix stuff.
But this would be like, you have an implanted chip in your brain that
you just
helps
press the
you
button and it's like-
connect and use your brain to a different capacity.
That'll
which
be
is
good for
crazy.
acting.
Oh yeah.
That will be.
If
that'll
you
be
could trigger
interesting.
different emotions on like your phone,
Because it
you
also
could just be like, okay, I need to be sad for this scene, and then you just
like
press a button and you'll get
physically
apparently
make you
can
sad.
also directly transmit sounds.
Yeah.
So like music,
He's
words.
promised that you can talk to people through it.
Oh, cool. So it's gonna
That-
be like full
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes
Dude,
style.
that would be awesome.
Like
I'm
where
kind of freaking out about how
telepathic.
awesome this would
You
be.
just like think about who you want to talk to.
Yeah, just be like, hey, Landon.
Talk to them over the free Skynet
What was
internet.
oh man, because telepathy is so poorly done in most like movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it's always just like the person just
Goes.
like looks at him.
Or Xavier
you
just
hear, like,
puts
an-
finger to temple and it's
You
like,
hear you hear like an over
Yeah, voiceover.
like an
voiceover
omniscient
or,
voice.
like, something that.
I can't believe Jason forgot the shopping this morning.
Wait, what is the Twilight movies have that?
Yeah.
They have bad.
They had the bad high
Everyone's gonna hate me
schooler
for
thoughts.
saying that.
Why would everyone hate? I mean, those
How dare
stories
you
and
insult
movies are just
Twilight
really
movies.
rough in general. Like, but yeah, exactly. Like this. So, but that'll be interesting to see what like. Yeah.
Yeah, what
Because how
goes
do you
on with
control
that?
that? Like, how do you stop someone from sending you a message when it's inside your head? Like,
Maybe-
how does that work? Things
Well, maybe
like
it
that.
works like with contact info. Like,
Maybe it's eye contact.
I mean, yeah, or maybe it's like dialing a number
Yeah.
type thing. Or maybe like you only get the message if you open it up like a call. Like you get a little, hey, somebody's calling you.
Yeah.
How would the like UX work for that though? Because like
I don't know.
would we see
Like-
like a UI,
In your eyeballs,
like,
like,
what
it
would you
projects
just
to you
know?
right now.
or would you just? How would that work though?
It's like a spider tingle.
Or would it
Spider
just,
sense
or would it be
tingle.
vocal? Like would it say something to you in your head?
I
Like,
don't-
message from Landon Moore.
Audio menus.
But to see, then you could like spam someone, like someone that you hate. You're just like, oh man,
But you would have to
they're
have
doing
their
their
number.
piano recital right now, and
You can block people.
everyone
Yeah.
would
There's
start
that
Because if you have like their number, you could just block them.
brain
that
dialing
Black Mirror
them.
episode where everybody had like the contacts
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like you could block people in real life and it would be like
Meow meow beans.
what?
Meow meow beans. Don't worry about it. It's from Community.
It would like you could like block people and it would like pixelate them and like you couldn't hear them at all.
Wow.
Interesting. So maybe it'll
That
work
is-
like that.
I've never seen that show. I gotta watch that show.
Oh, Black Mirror.
Yeah, apparently
Skip the
it's
first
like
episode.
super trippy,
It's
isn't it?
rough. The whole thing's rough.
If you want to be broken inside and out,
it's
you know,
it's one
it's
of
like
those.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it's like Twilight
just-
Zone,
is
but
it-
like,
yeah, it's like
no
a-
holds bar.
but like, yeah, you just don't feel
Like
good at
super
the end of
uncanny,
it, because
like,
you
weird.
feel like this might actually happen. This could happen.
It's insane to the point of like, it's caricatured to like where you're like, oh, that's
So crazy could
That's like
happen.
that's a crazy concept. But then like after you finish the episode, you're like, wait,
Wait,
that could be like
This
what
little
happens
thing in
next
life
week.
is
And then China
definitely-
releases, social point system, and you're like, dang it,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
real.
No.
so the reason I bring up Meow Meow Beans is there's this episode on the show Community where these app developers approach the community college that all the characters go to, and they want to
Is
beta
that why it's
test.
called Community?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all go to a community college.
It's a community
I thought it
inside
was-
of a community
I thought it was
college.
like a. I don't know why I thought it was like a
Neighborhood?
department of like the government, like
do
a
you-
Parks and Rec kind of thing, but like
do you well, I mean, because it was on the same Thursday night lineup as like The Office and Parks and Rec, but it is
I
not
love
like
Parks and
either
Rec.
of those shows. But
Yeah,
it is
it's-
just as funny, I think, if not
Yeah.
funnier.
It's like Parks and Rec is like the middle ground between The Office and Community, I feel like. Just because the styles, like The Office fully embraces the documentary
Yeah.
style.
well, that's like the whole.
Parks
story.
and Rec is like pseudo
It's
embraces
like Modern
it.
Family-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Community, that's not a part of it at all.
Okay, it's just a show.
Yeah,
it's
it's just
just a show.
But it's funny.
It's,
You like
Chevy
Arrested?
Chase in
You
it,
like
right?
Arrested Development?
Yeah.
That
it
has
does.
Michael Cera in it, right?
Yeah. Have you seen it?
not seen
Oh,
Arrested
man.
Development?
Like
You
Michael
guys should
Cera.
watch Arrested Development too. Rick and Morty. You guys like Rick and Morty?
I
Seen
do like
any
Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is very
I
funny.
cannot confirm nor deny.
I cannot confirm
I mean,
nor deny.
I'm not
I have the
accusing you of
IQ.
falling into any stereotypes if you like Rick and Morty. I'm just saying, like,
I cannot-
Dan Harmon wrote Rick and Morty. He was also a writer for
okay.
Arrested Development, and he's
And
worked
they're
on-
also really
on
good
a
friends with
bunch.
the people who made Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
Alex Hirsch.
Yeah.
There's like a whole like community of writers in like the
Yeah.
TV sphere, like the Gravity Falls guy, the Adventure Time guy,
Yeah.
the regular show guy, and I guess now Community and Rick and Morty. They're all
And also Tim and
They all
Eric
mingle.
were a part
Are?
of that crew, Channel
Oh, okay.
101. Back in the day, they had their own internet channel where they encourage creators to come together and make stuff together. And there's some
cool.
really hilarious stuff. Like, there's some things that I still quote to this day and no one else understands because they got 10,000 views on
wow.
some of those videos. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, ha ha ha. And everyone's just like, what are you talking
What?
about? That was never even popular. Like, it was for me.
Yeah, it was in my heart.
But yeah, so yeah, Community is a great show. In the show though, like they get approached by these app developers, and they institute basically the social ranking system, and it takes over the entire school. And so people with the highest rank have servants, and it turns into a full Twilight Zone
feudalist
episode.
society.
Yeah, where everyone's in 80s future gear that's in the top echelon, and then the middle tier is all in jumpsuits, and then everyone on the lowest tier just wears rags and brown, and there's
That's
colors and
awesome.
everything.
That's
for everything.
awesome.
And it destroys their whole school until someone points out that it doesn't matter. That it's just a fake system. It's just I deleted the app, and now
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what my social score is on it. But
Interesting.
when I saw that episode of Black Mirror, I told my wife, I was just like, it's Meow Meow Beans. And she hadn't seen Community yet. And she was
yeah,
just
yeah.
like,
Huh?
what are you talking about? I'm like, they did this
Meow
5
Meow
years ago on Community.
I feel like
This
the
was
social ranking trope of sort of predictive sci-fi is it's because it's basically real now. in
Yeah.
China,
Yeah.
and it's been used a bunch that it's not the best option to go
Yeah.
for it.
Oh, what's that game We Happy Few.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, they're making a show about that now.
Really?
Basically, yeah.
All these video game
like, they're called
shows.
Poppers or something, and it's New London. It's called Brave New World is the show.
Yeah, Brave New
On,
World.
like, HBO or something.
You mean like based off the book?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
not
it's a
based
So
off
it's
the
not.
video game?
No, I'm not
so-
saying it's based off the video game, but
no,
it's the same
it's
idea.
so they took the book and then they made a game, and now they're making a show
they're
off the
making a
game
show.
off the book.
We Happy Few is based on.
It's based on a Brave New World.
Is,
I
Yeah.
bet it is. I mean, it's very hard to
I didn't
believe
realize that.
unless they came up with the same idea.
Well, it's like
Reinvented the wheel.
Bioshock, right?
That
Like
is a crazy
Bioshock
book.
is based off of the collective works of Ayn Rand, and then they like made a movie, and it's like. But they
Everything
made the
has-
movie off of the book, not the game. But I am sure eventually they will make a Bioshock
All these
movie.
video game movies.
Well,
Well, like. they're-
okay.
Okay.
Have you ever seen a good video game movie? Let's start out.
Assassin's Creed
With
was
that.
good? I
No.
never saw that.
I never
Okay.
saw
It was trash.
What-
Well,
okay.
if you like the games, it was terrible. As a movie, it wasn't the worst movie, but it wasn't a good.
It's like how everyone like views
Video
Episode
game
8
movie.
for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Is Prince of Persia based off a video game, or
Yeah,
is the video
Prince of
game
Persia.
It's
Yeah.
based off the video game?
Yeah, video game. The video game's been around since Super Nintendo.
Okay.
Prince of
Oh,
Persia
really?
was a
Okay, I
Super
thought it
Nintendo game
was-
first.
There's a
A
Tomb
movie,
Raider movie.
But
a
Sands
couple
of
years
Time
back.
was a
Yeah.
fairly new game.
They're making an Uncharted movie, right?
Yeah,
They are.
And they're making a Last of
with
Us
Nathan
TV
Fillion.
series,
Of course
and
they
they're
are.
making a Fallout TV series on all. Both of these are
Seriously?
on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon's picking
I think
up
the Fallout
slack.
one is by the people who make Westworld.
Yeah.
I'm still excited for the new Lord of the Rings HBO series.
Yes, me too.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How do I
Yeah.
not know any of this?
Dude, pay attention.
They just all they released is a trailer of like, we hired these people to make a Lord of the Rings series.
Yeah,
And look
Okay.
at them, they worked on Game of Thrones, so you
Yeah.
know it's gonna be good.
so we'll see.
Okay,
Like,
so it's kind of like what they did with
I am pro video games going into TV series over
Video game
movies.
movies.
It's hard
It's like the
because
High
Condense,
Republic.
like even Last of Us, you can't condense like an 8-hour.
yeah, it's an
into 2
8-hour
hours.
story into a 2-hour like, and it's
Last
like
of Us is already pretty condensed as the story goes.
yeah, getting it into 8 hours was probably difficult.
It's the classic problem of too long for a movie, too short for a TV show.
Yeah.
Well, but then also like the thing about video games is like they have a lot of most video games that have a good enough story to make it into a movie have a lot of replayability, which means that your like target audience is like super familiar with the source
Yeah.
material.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you take a book, like there's certain aspects of just how stories need to be put into books that you can kind of leave out. Like there's a lot of like rising and falling action you can cut out. There's a lot of like character building that you can imply rather than describe.
Yeah.
But in a video game, like if you're watching cutscenes and there's like already like 4.5 hours worth of cutscenes in a video game, like it's hard
Yeah.
to condense that and cut things out without any of it still making sense.
Especially trying to make a movie off of something that's interactive,
Yeah, that's hard.
especially with multiple endings. When it's interactive, because then it's showing which one is the ending.
I personally
You make a
think
show.
that, well, first of all, a lot of the fan-made shorts that I've seen from video games, I actually really appreciate. They do a really good job.
Yeah. There was that one
Mine is,
Uncharted short film that I think they had Nathan Fillion in.
yeah,
That was really good.
exactly. But it's like, you know, they're like 5 or 6 minutes,
Yeah.
sometimes 15. And like, they're really good, but like, they're like kind of trying to tell like a part of the story that you hadn't seen
Yeah.
necessarily, which I think is why I like them. Which takes me to my second point. I think that the best video game movie still to this day is Super Mario Brothers.
I was gonna bring that up.
even though
That's yeah.
it's weird and it like doesn't
It's-
necessarily
yeah,
follow
and
any
it
of the
didn't do
games.
super great on release.
But you have to realize that like for what they had when they made that movie, like they had to make all of that. Like they had
Yeah.
to make all of that lore up. Like none of that stuff
And
existed.
now it's all canon.
And now it's
So now
all
we have Mario and Luigi Mario.
Yeah.
Their last names.
is literally their last names, which is why they're the Mario Brothers, because they share the name.
Mario.
The actors that they got.
Bob Hoskins and Louise.
Yeah, that guy Luigi just died, didn't he? The actor, or the
I
actor
don't-
from the TV show.
No.
for Luigi.
Oh yeah, for the TV show.
Oh,
yeah.
seriously?
Yeah.
Dude, the
It was
TV
last
show
year.
was so funny.
It's
I loved that show as a
TV.
kid.
I'm glad they didn't use those actors for the video game voices moving forward in the future.
Oh yeah.
Because they have.
Could you imagine Bob Hoskins being Mario for like ever?
Charles
Yeah. It's not the classic.
Martinet.
Yeah, the guy
It's
who
like-
does the woohoo,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, the classic.
Yahoo!
It's a me, Mario.
Well, we say the classic woohoo, but like
Yeah.
the classic woohoo is the Hoskins going like, all right, Luigi, we gotta go fight Bowser.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
have these thick Brooklyn accents. And it's like,
Luigi.
Which is great.
Whoa.
I mean, because like that's who they were, right? It's
Yeah.
like they were these plumbers from New York, and now they're like fighting dinosaurs, which is like it's obscure already, which is why I don't mind the movie, but why I also think that it's one of the best because it helped kind of develop the lore beyond what we had already seen. Because they could have just done it like cartoon style.
Yeah.
No backstory for either of them.
Yeah.
I gotta save the princess. Go talk to this
Yeah.
mushroom dude, and then like, but they
Only
like developed like
backstory
this
for the people
whole
who played
like,
it.
oh, when the comet hit the the Earth, it actually divided Earth's timelines into two, where the dinosaurs survived and where the mammals survived.
That
and
is
they
pretty
evolved
intense.
at the same rate, and this is like what the two societies, the two worlds have kind of become.
yeah, I think it's video game characters and stories in traditional media succeed when you either have a blank slate and
Right.
you can develop the lore like the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, or you have the established lore and characters and you just have a story about it.
Yeah.
So that's why I hope, and it's totally not going to do this, but I hope that the like Uncharted series and like the Last of Us series, well, maybe less the Last of Us series because that's easier to transition into a movie, but the Uncharted series, they don't make it an origin story.
Yeah.
Because everything's an origin story. Because
Yeah.
you have to introduce, if you have new characters.
Well, because you're trying to introduce them to an
Yeah.
audience that isn't familiar with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that both of your moms have heard you say the name Assassin's Creed, but they probably don't know anything
nothing
about
about
it.
it.
You know,
I
or,
like-
or
yeah.
Destiny, or any of the video games that
Yeah.
you played.
I was like, I don't
I'm
really
sure.
play
I'm sure
Assassin's
that they've
Creed.
they are aware that it exists, but they have like no clue what
Yeah.
any of it is.
Despite all
or
my
is about.
attempts to bring them into the wonderful world, they're like, huh?
Yeah, like
What?
no.
I mean, like, they'll have an easier time with Fallout. I mean, Fallout, the whole thing is based off of, like, same calamity, just tons of different stories
Yeah,
within
that'll
it.
be
So that'll be easy,
good.
unless they somehow manage to mess it up, like they've messed up, like, some of the Fallout games.
Like they messed up the Fallout series.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Shots fired. Pew, pew.
Fair take, but hot take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited for some of the movies. I'm excited for the HBO series, even though like I love
They're
Lord
gonna
of the Rings.
HBO-ify
So do I. The thing is that if you like, for a video game movie, if you just take the video game that's already there, make a movie on the story after that, and then make a video game based on the end of the movie story, now you've got a movie that
my
like
goodness.
almost becomes part of like a cult classic type thing.
Yeah. But I don't
Like a
think
mixed media
I don't
sort of
think that
thing? Yeah.
film execs are like thinking in that kind of synergistic way.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if we look at the rise of Skywalker,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
Palpatine, you know, it starts saying, "The dead speak." The sinister voice of Palpatine has been heard all over the galaxy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I
Man.
drown into paraphrase after that. But
Yeah.
the message that Palpatine speaks is canon, but you could only have heard it if you were logged into Fortnite at a certain time on a certain day.
Dun dun dun.
Seriously?
So that's, you know, that's a case of mixed media.
Yeah.
Being-
Yeah. That's
But,
like the
like, you
You
ultimate
have to
mixed
you
media.
have to play the game in order to
There's
get the
there's
context
so many
for the
problems
movie.
with like the
Yeah.
intro to that movie. Like that opening crawl alone was just like, well, there goes any
Yeah.
suspense that we had about what
happened to
going on.
Palpatine.
Yeah.
And then within the next 10 minutes, we also know the rest of the plot. It's
I don't know,
oh,
like
okay.
that. that whole series just suffered so much, and I felt
I felt bad about it too.
It could have been
because,
so good.
Yeah, because The Force Awakens had a lot of promise. Like,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that movie when it came
Anytime
out.
you fire a director or a writer, it's like
Oh, it gets rough
Yeah.
from there.
scary.
Because in episode
It
8,
was going to be Colin Trevorrow. Right?
yeah, for the third.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think also, I'm very familiar with J.J. Abrams' work. I think I've seen
Yeah.
all of it. And I've definitely seen all of it.
Number one J.J. Abrams fan, right?
I mean, I'm not. I just like I just like we were talking about earlier with Funko Pops. Like, I'm kind of a completionist. So there's
Yeah.
like certain directors and certain actors that I've like seen their entire.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen every single John Cusack movie. Why? They're not good, but I've seen them all.
What is he even in?
Dude, he's in so many movies.
It's
you
gonna be
would
Ewan
not
McGregor
even-
movies.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so like, and there's just like certain directors that I've just like been like, okay, let's just
Yeah.
watch their full catalog.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's kinda
and
me with
JJ is
Chris-
just like one of them because he's had some really like good successes. Like, I really liked his Star Trek movie back
Those
in
were good.
2009.
Did he do
Like,
all three
Yeah.
of them?
No, and so that's part of it. Is like his reputation as a director is like he has like
He
this
comes into the
wonderful
story.
creative
He'll like
mind.
start it and then
Yeah,
it'll just,
to like how to like we were talking about with video games is like how to like take source material and then like morph it into
Yeah.
its own thing that is like really solid and good. What he doesn't do well is he's not a good finisher,
he doesn't
right?
pass it off to the right people.
Well, like no, like
He doesn't
even
see it
even
through.
like Lost, right? Like, he didn't finish Lost.
Oh,
He
yeah.
started the last
Yeah, yeah.
series, but like he wasn't even there for like the last 5 seasons. It's like, okay,
Dang.
I'm working on other projects. Like, pretty much all of
Yeah.
his projects work that way, where like he starts it with like
doesn't
the high
complete it.
concept stuff, but then he like passes it off for someone else who's better at like
Yeah.
completing what he started.
Yeah.
But then,
It
like,
kinda-
Disney basically like threw the hot potato back in his lap at the last second. It was just like, we need you to come in, and he's just
Yeah.
like, this isn't what I do though. Like, I set
Probably
the
a lot of money,
groundwork
though.
for the next person to do like a really good job, and then
Yeah.
like that didn't happen. So they like try to put it back on
Yeah.
his plate, and
Yeah.
I don't think that it worked out for him, unfortunately.
The sequel trilogy is a hard thing to look at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, just because from my point of view, the
Jedi
Jedi
are
are evil. we all at the same time were like, wait. But like episode 8, if I look at it from any other view other than a Star Wars movie, it is wonderful.
It's a
Like,
good
it could even be a one-off movie and still be pretty okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
He
that
didn't
bad.
have any history with Palpatine and the Empire and everything.
Yeah.
Like, it is
Bringing
an
back
epic
Palpatine was
movie.
cool, but I don't see why they had to do it.
It's because they
Well, it's 'cause
killed
they killed Snoke.
Because they killed Snoke and they ran out of runway on,
Yeah.
on villains.
You don't need a big baddie villain.
Plus, it was
but that's
also-
the thing. It's like you pigeonholed yourself into
Yeah.
like this.
It was also-
It needs to be this type of.
It was
movie.
also partially fan service for like old fans because back in the old canon, there was a
Palpatine
comic.
lives.
Yeah.
He like floats around.
Yeah, he's a dark force ghost and he possesses things and they corrode over time because of the amount of dark side energy he has. So that's what everyone thought Snokes was, or Snokes.
Snopes.
Snopes. I mean,
Snopes.com
Smoke.
says.
yeah,
Smog.
Smaug. I mean, same.
Smoke, smog.
Have you guys seen the video of Benedict Cumberbatch doing the motion capture for Smaug?
Oh yeah,
I have
it's
not,
pretty
actually.
great.
It's beautiful.
It's phenomenal.
It's
What I've-
beautiful.
It's hilarious.
It is.
Yeah.
It
Well,
makes me want to be a mocap actor.
I love
he literally like
him.
rolls around on the floor and like gets into character. Which is
I really like Benedict.
Watching
Cumberbatch.
any motion capture behind the scenes just makes me want to do motion capture.
oh
It's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
so fun.
Have you seen like
We
the
should set it up.
Destiny
We could get
motion
stuff
capture?
together to do
But
mocap.
like what they're doing in their garages or like the normal motion capture?
like the normal motion capture, like from when Cade says, "I don't have time to explain what I don't have time to explain." You know that
Yeah.
mission?
Did
Like-
they actually get Nathan Fillion to do the motion capture?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because a lot of times, what happens is they'll mocap. They'll either have if the actor's like really woo.
Yeah.
Like for example, in Death Stranding, they had Guillermo del Toro. It's weird. He donated he gave them permission to use his body. So they had his body as the character, but it was a different actor and a different voice actor.
Oh, interesting.
So
Yeah.
that you can get these sort of weird mishmashes, and then it's like, you know, Polar Express, which was the first fully featured motion capture movie.
Right.
You know, you look at the credits, everybody's Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Tom
Well,
Hanks
he's
plays
like
everybody.
8 people, but
No, he's like 20.
I
no,
love
he's like
Tom
8.
Hanks.
No, he's like 20.
Have you watched that movie recently, by the
Have
way?
you
I think
have
last
you
year.
thought about?
It did not age well.
I like it.
You don't think so?
I don't think it looks great.
I-
I'm just like, oh man, this is
Yeah,
rough. This
I
is
guess-
some rough animation.
I guess maybe there.
I
but
think the
mean, like,
lighting is really off for me. Like the models are really solid, but
to
like,
me, it's the elves. The elves get me every time.
yeah.
Like their little faces just creep me out.
Steven Tyler Elf singing Aerosmith. on a
Yeah.
Giant unicycle.
Yeah.
Have you thought about the lore of that thing?
It
Like the
is.
fact that Tom Hanks's voice plays the kid as an adult and the conductor and the hobo. Like
Yeah.
the three main like
Oh yeah.
and like how
Well, because the kid grows up and
to
becomes
be the conductor, I
the
think.
conductor, or maybe
Or he
maybe
grows
the
up to be the-
conductor and the hobo are like. But he also voices Santa.
Different
Right?
Yeah.
sides
So it's
of the
like-
same coin.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
thinking.
it's like a
You are what you believe in.
Kronk angel and a Kronk
Exactly.
devil
That's what.
situation.
That, oh yeah, it's all coming together. But I feel like he either grows up to become the conductor or he grows up to be the
And
hobo
it's
because the things they
choice-
say.
It's the choice he makes
Yeah.
on the Polar Express that determines whether he grows up to be a successful businessman if he believes in Santa,
Yeah.
or he becomes a homeless person if he does not believe in
He
Santa.
becomes the man who hitches the ride or the one who's driving the train.
Sock coffee or hot chocolate?
Or sock.
Stock coffee. Oh man.
Sock coffee.
You know,
These are the choices we
in
must
order
make in
to,
life.
Yeah.
get a morality plot into
Yeah.
children. You know,
Like that's it.
do you want to grow up and drink sock coffee, or do you want to be like the other kids and drink hot chocolate when they grow up?
Because they believe in Santa, and that's the
Yeah.
whole point.
Ah.
Or do they believe in themselves? Because Tom Hanks is also
I'll
Santa.
punish my son. And
Oh.
Rough.
I'll be
Didn't
like,
think about that.
if you stay up too late, I'm gonna make you drink sock coffee tomorrow.
Oh man, soft coffee would be great.
Oh yes.
Why don't we get into the nitty gritties about this last week's service? How'd everyone do? Well, Landon, first of all, you got to enjoy
Yeah.
a little stage time. you were up,
I played bass. on
other
the
than
team.
spilling your coffee during rehearsal.
That wasn't during rehearsal.
you
no,
chose
that was like
the
Was that-
best day. To be up.
there was a my family's working through selling our house right now, so we have to like leave, you know,
Yeah.
whenever so they can show the house. And there's a house showing Saturday morning. I was like, okay, I'll just go down to the church, practice bass line I need to work on. So I was there and I was working on it, and I like was sitting on a stool and I had my coffee in one hand and the cap in the other hand, and I like stood up to like I don't know,
Do something.
grab my bass, put the coffee cap on, and put it down. And I stood up, and when I stood up, you know how you kind of like lean forward to stand up?
Yeah.
Normally, I would like lean forward, and like this would like tilt
Yeah,
back to
you know.
compensate. But I stood up and I leaned forward, and my coffee went like that, and it like slipped out of my hands, and I did like a whole like Jar
The
Jar
bumble.
juggling the like energy balls, and it just,
Yeah.
no, I got
Classic.
some coffee on my bass and some coffee on the, direct box and some coffee on the carpet.
Yeah.
But I cleaned it and it looked
Yeah.
fine. And it didn't smell.
Thanks for cleaning up after yourself. We
Having two
appreciate
dogs
it.
makes me really good at cleaning carpet.
Oh yeah. You just like got
But
that
yeah,
process
this
down.
Got
was
the
crazy.
skills.
Yeah. I
Oh
would
my
say-
gosh, yeah, no.
So you were on stage. We were up in the booth.
And every part of software.
Yeah.
Any software we had, gone.
So
Crushed.
we hadn't gone around to making the sermon slides yet, which is all the scriptures that the
Yeah.
pastor's going to go through during a sermon.
So
I
the-
asked Jack, hey, can you just copy and paste? Like we usually have a pretty good script of what passages the pastor's going to use. So typically we just copy and paste it over
Yep.
into
It's really easy. Auto formats.
yeah,
Everything.
into our presentation
I
software.
like the Alt V for auto formatting.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's very nice.
And then it just
It just didn't go.
it was
didn't
like,
do it?
no, you're not doing anything. I'm like, what?
So he spent all of the whole worship practice that happened Sunday morning basically hand typing out
50
38 verses.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
From the book of John into
Plus then some extra
Focus Center.
from
You
different.
typed all of those?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had to
Good
type them out by
practice.
hand. I know.
Yeah, then 55 words per minute really helped. But oh my goodness, I never want to do that again.
And then announcement slides. I also asked you to put in the announcement slides, and then we had them in.
And then they disappeared.
And
So then
then-
we were like, all right, second time's
We
a
got
charm.
we got
did it
time.
again.
It's 2 minutes before service starts.
my
Let's
goodness.
just make them again.
Disappeared again.
Yep.
we were like, okay,
And then
not
the-
doing them.
The lights.
Yeah, and then simultaneous to that, our lighting software also just decided not to show up on Sunday. Spiritual warfare, that's what I
Yeah.
chalk it up to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, our lights, we lost control of our lights.
Yeah, didn't it crash and uninstall?
Yeah, it crashed and uninstalled itself. Also, literally 5 minutes before
And then
service
when we
was supposed to start.
reinstalled it, it had to update.
Yep.
Yep.
So
And so it started to update, and then we canceled the update, and then it wouldn't let us control which scene we were on, but the lights were on, so we just left them on.
It works now, right?
Yeah, I got it working.
thank goodness.
Yesterday I spent some time in the morning and I properly updated and we reinstalled Dust Light, and then we also updated the computer for the slides and the software for the slides.
It was like
There
the
also
perfect
an
storm.
update waiting for
Nothing
it.
had happened with slides for a long time. No problems with slides.
I know.
Even though
It's
they
like
usually
it's like a shuffle. It's like, is it sound? Is it slides? Is it cameras? Is it?
sometimes it's like
There was
Hawk
like a
Moon.
glorious like
Sometimes you get the triple stack.
oh yeah. There's like a glorious like I think year and a half after we got Purpose Center where there were no issues at all. Because
That must have been
when we had Media
wonderful.
Shout, it was like every time you worked on it, something would happen.
Yeah, just
Classic.
when you opened it.
Because Purpose Center is cool, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with
Yeah.
like it not working like once every year.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Sadly, there's
at
no
staff
such
meeting,
thing.
there was conversations like, well, do we need to buy something different? Do we need to upgrade
There is nothing
ProPresenter?
better.
We should get the
Yeah.
Share Faith plugin for Google Slides.
Which was no. But
Okay.
yeah, Jack on Sunday asked me. He's just like, it was like, we just need. Can you build something better than this? And I was
There's
just
no
like,
such thing as good presentation
I was just like,
software.
dude, there's no
Why?
such thing as good presentation software. It's just
Why?
not.
Is there just too much code for everything to go right or
Like,
something?
it's just-
$1 billion idea. Let's fix presentation stuff.
Yeah, but
Let's do it.
Good luck, man. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is there's no end to it.
Let's
is
just
why.
get Elon on it.
Elon, can you make our church presentation
It's just
software?
like so. Like the issue with presentation software is you need to make something that's broad enough that
Anything
you can have
works for it.
millions of users, but
Yeah.
not detailed enough that it works for all every single one of those millions of users. So like
Yeah.
you're constantly going to leave people out, but it's purposeful because if you didn't, then you would become like a niche software.
What if
and
you
then
just like
would
pulled
die.
an Apple and then just had a specific machine that you would buy along with the software?
What like the couple $1,000 machine that we already have for things like cameras and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but
you
for
mean?
slides.
But just for slides,
Just for
like
slides.
a slide box basically.
like
You
a
just-
slide
Yeah.
box. So,
yeah.
Put this one
but
in
it
the
has like a
queue.
screen. So
Transition.
So you can see the preview of like what you're about to put up, and then you press a button and you make it go live.
no. Like a
Okay, that's
full
right.
like it's like you know how like modern lighting consoles are.
Yeah.
So like maybe like that sort of thing, but like with slides. So it has a keyboard and it has a mouse or trackpad or arrow keys or whatever.
Little
and then
rolly
it has
ball.
a screen, and on the screen it's like the classic, like we'll just say ProPresenter style, where you can see all the slides and then there's a preview thing. But the thing is that all of the hardware is dedicated to running the slide software, and also then it would solve the problem of getting adapters and having video cards
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff. Because then you could just have the back be power
And outputs.
4 audio inputs, and then like you could have 4 outputs of like different types. So
Yeah.
you could have like 2 HDMI and 2 SDI and 2 VGA and 2 DVI, and then that would be the whole back. In Magic.
And Magic. And it would just run a custom OS that
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
did media
just
input,
did
media
slides.
output.
Oh yeah,
it was
media input. Something for like a word
processing.
processor and like slides, graphical APIs, and then just it'll feed out the output.
I say we bring it in for a session.
Yeah, let's ask.
design
I'm
it.
sure they'll.
We'll head up a think tank. We can outsource to, I don't know, does Fiverr do software engineering?
Only in Dubai.
Only in Dubai?
Only in Dubai.
Wait, really?
No.
Where's like,
It's like a
wait.
thing though.
Yeah, I mean,
Like people making
there
your
are
idea.
software developers on Fiverr. Like,
Yeah,
there's
we'll do
no guarantee though, like on what you
they're not
get.
We'll outsource
Scamming.
it.
It's not just stolen code from some place.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
what would we do? We just look it up on Stack Overflow and
Yeah. Mess around with it till it works.
Oh, yeah.
Try and
Typically.
copy and paste
what
until we
happens.
find out it doesn't work.
So yeah, so we had lights going on and we had slides going on, and then we were down a man essentially in the booth because Landon was on stage. So I was running basically cameras and the stream simultaneously,
stream.
which we can do. It's not.
yeah,
It's not possible.
It's not the hardest thing. It's just usually what happens on a
Also not the
Sunday is
funnest.
I'm running the stream, Landon's running cameras, so that when things like that happen, I can move away from the stream and go fix things that need fixing in the middle of service. Which didn't quite work out this week, but honestly, I felt like the quality didn't suffer too much.
Yeah, nothing like critical.
Yeah, exactly. We just like
Something
didn't
couldn't
have
show
slides
from
for
the cameras.
announcement,
Yeah.
and then like.
Like, yeah, there was no pictures for announcements, which doesn't happen a ton
Right.
often anyways.
And
so
then
a lot of people didn't notice
Doug
any
was
difference.
just like, "Ooh, Jackson missed some slides, or he was late on some slides," and it's just like, well, he didn't have literally any time last week to practice or
Yeah.
like know what you guys were gonna do or
We made the
timing
slides,
or.
we put them in kind of the right order, and
Yeah.
then we just let it
Let
sit.
it be.
Yeah.
And then I get there Sunday morning, just put everything in its right order, and then find out I need to type out an entire sermon
There you go.
Yeah.
by hand. Yay.
So copy and paste works now. Everything should be in full working order.
My life is saved.
Yeah. And now we have this awesome studio space that we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't
pretty
have to bounce back and forth between up there and
We don't
down
have
here.
to hide everything.
Get some couple
when
fans
YouTube
in
shows
here.
up.
Yeah, I know it is warm.
It is pretty
It's the, well,
Steamy.
it's all the
I don't
insulation.
think the
for
AC's on.
I don't think the AC is on for this building because no one is using it after Tuesdays,
We're using it.
except for us. Yeah,
Sad.
we could probably kick it back on.
Hey. good
What else?
fight,
What
too.
else? How's everyone doing spiritually? How you feeling? What?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been trying to listen to more worship music lately.
Yeah. You still doing your liturgy deal?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I've been popping those out. Trying to do one every night because they're
cool.
good. Some of them are hard though because they're meant for like gatherings, so it'll be like leader and congregation response. But you can just read the whole thing as yourself and it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to listen to more worship music. I listened to worship music for half of my work shift today, so
Sweet.
that was good.
What bands? What do you typically listen to?
This morning I just put on. I usually sort my worship playlists by artist.
Yeah.
So not not by artist, by like worship leader. So there's this one worship leader that I've listened to for like 10 years. His name's Sean Kieran. He was in a band called Bella Reeve. And then he sings a lot for Passion now. He worked for Passion. And he's done some solo stuff. So I just had a playlist of his stuff that I listened to during work. Because it's something that I know really well.
Yeah.
And it's something that I know is more peppy, I guess, more
Yeah. Because when you're working,
anthemic.
you don't
Yeah.
want "Oh Come and Mourn with Me." It'll
Well,
come up on the playlist.
Well, maybe
with
the
you.
like Jars of Clay version of that, but
Yeah.
like, I was listening to like the actual version, like some nun choir sang it, and it was like
Yeah.
Gregorian chants have their time and place.
They do.
Not,
Like,
not in the middle of.
they are beautiful.
Yeah.
But
Not when you're
Yeah.
stacking boxes and
they
it's really loud.
definitely,
Monty
require
Python.
a certain,
Good for
mood.
homework.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't know what they're singing, it's nice. What about you, Jack? How you feeling? How you doing?
I've been doing good, been focusing a lot more on the silence and prayer stuff. So
Yeah.
like instead of always being the one talking to God, waiting for a response type thing, listening. And just prayer in general, because there's a study that shows that men are more likely to go to studies rather than to prayer to search for answers, and women
Interesting.
are vice versa.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, lines up for me. Usually if I'm ever having trouble, I'll ask one of my teachers or something about the problem, and like, we'll look at
man.
stuff. What?
Yeah.
Or am I a Muppet?
That's interesting
That is
because
an interesting study.
Pastor Dustin and I were just talking this last week, and we were talking about how like, hey, we should have like a prayer meeting for like us dudes, like the dads
Yeah.
of the church, because like there's enough of us that are like kind of young dads, like we have young kids still at home and stuff, like, and yeah, we don't
Yeah.
we don't necessarily take time to do prayer as much as we do to like go
Yeah.
do a men's breakfast or
Yeah,
a
'cause guys-
service or
Guys are more like
Yeah.
less likely to ask for help than they are to just get confirmation
Yeah.
about something, or just to be told
Yeah.
what the right way is instead of having to ask
Good
for
old
it necessarily.
Masculinity.
Good old-
cultural masculinity
Yeah.
issues. Sweet. I'm glad that you're taking time to like focus and practice those things though, because there's a need for that in our lives to like kind of be a little bit more self-aware of like, hey, what are
Yeah.
some things I can work on?
Yeah, shortcomings and
Yeah. Speaking of which, I've been working on Sabbathing. This is like something
Yeah.
that at one point in my life, like I took an entire year of like focusing on nothing but like Sabbathing, like making sure every
Dang.
week I took time to like be with God, focus on Him, and like it was a
Working
really
till
good
not
time.
work.
But then like yeah, life catches up to you, and it gets really easy to kind of like push that further and further away. And so like
Yeah.
on my Saturdays, I'm like editing videos for work,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like working on chores and like making sure stuff gets
Scripts.
done. And yeah, there's a lot. And so focusing on not just like relaxing, but like relaxing in the Lord and like letting Him kind of fill that space and that busyness with
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who He is and what He wants from me, rather than me just being like, I'm gonna just veg out and play Minecraft for like 8 hours.
Yeah,
See
yeah.
ya.
go play some Minecraft with the boys.
Yeah, which like is great, but like if I'm not, like if my heart's not in the right place, then it's
Yeah.
like not.
Yeah.
That's not really Sabbathing either. It's just like self-indulgence, which is
Yeah.
not what it's about. It's kind of just like trusting in God that He will provide for whatever work
Yeah.
that I'm like missing out on. He'll like energize me or give
Yeah.
me
Give you
the
strength.
the strength to continue and do those things when I continue in that. So yeah, it's been good time.
Yeah, I find if I like schedule like rest, or I schedule a time where I'm like, yeah, I won't work.
Yeah.
Right. Then either during that time I itch for work,
Mm-hmm.
and like I could be doing this, I could be doing this, I could be doing this, or I like extend it and I don't do anything.
Yeah.
So trying to find the balance of like actually just focusing on the time itself and not worrying about what's going to happen after the time ends.
Yeah. Which is something that I know, Jack, you and I have talked about, and that I've encouraged you to try to do what I call precrastinate, which is where you
Yeah.
like finish everything before
And
the
then-
last
Oh, yeah.
minute, because then it like removes that worry from your mind of like the things that you have to do after
Yeah.
you're done relaxing, or after you're like, if you've put something off, like it still nags at you,
Oh,
even if you're
totally.
not like conscious
Yeah.
of it. You know that it's like, oh man,
And then you
I
wake
still
up
have to
and
write
are
that
like,
paper when I get home.
crap.
Like, it's like
I
this
wrote
was
my-
really fun, but it would have been more fun if I knew I didn't
Yeah.
have to go home and work and do these
Yeah,
things.
when I wrote my junior paper on human genetic engineering in 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not healthy for you.
My brother is not a he doesn't procrastinate, but he'll relax and then work. Whereas like I like to work and then relax.
Yeah.
So, I'll wake up and then do everything and I'll just be done.
Yeah.
Right? Or because it took a while for me to learn over the school year,
Yeah.
that I severely scheduled every hour of my day. I can go back and if I want to see like, oh, what did I do on September 28th, 2019? I can go back and be like, oh, from this time I did this, from this time I did this. And that was good, sort of, because
like you
it
needed
just
that
got me
structure.
the rhythm of, being like, okay, I can rest and then work and not feel guilty about it.
And transferring to college, though, is also different just because, like, it's not just like a new school system, like it's a new life system. Like
you're by yourself, you're with people your age, there's rules, but there's like no
not much guidance.
Yeah, no one comes into your room at 1 a.m. It's just like, hey, your bedtime was an hour ago. You need to go to sleep. Like, you just are left to your own devices at
Unless
that
you
point.
start hallucinating, of course.
Yeah, which I've had happen. It's not a great thing when you're so
Tired that
sleep
you
deprived
hallucinate.
that you start to hallucinate.
Wow, I don't think the longest I've ever stayed up was like 29 hours.
Back when I was Landon's age, I worked three jobs and went to school full time, which left little time for me to sleep. And so I was like on day 3 of like an hour. Like I had slept like 2.5 hours, and then I went like 3 whole days without going to sleep at all. And some of my friends were down at Sherry's, and they were just like, hey, we're getting pie. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had just got off work. And they were just like, you should come join us. I was like, okay, sure. And so I drive from Ashland to Medford, and I meet up with them at Sherry's, and I like order my pie, and I'm like talking to my friends, and then the ceiling like starts to like look like it's doing the wave.
Oh my goodness.
Like, and it's like coming
That's
down towards me.
creepy.
And I was just like, guys, and they're just like, what? I'm like, someone needs to take me home so I can go to sleep. My body is telling me that this is not okay and that I need to go to sleep. And so,
My binocular devices are saying,
thankfully,
uh-oh.
like it was like my Friday from like a 14-day like stint
Oh my
of like
goodness.
working in a row, and like I literally didn't have to be anywhere until like the next day at like 8 o'clock at night. And so I slept
the
for like
entire
17 hours or something crazy
That
like that the
sounds
next
wonderful.
day.
The longest time I've ever slept was when I had mono, and it was just when I was starting to get better.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't keeping me up at night. So I slept from like 7 at night to 10 the next day.
Like 10 at night
Yeah.
the next day?
No, 10 a.m. So it was like 15 hours.
Yeah, 15 hours.
But that because normally I won't sleep very long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
neither do
naturally will
I.
just snap awake in the morning.
And then I'm
be
like,
dang it! I wish I wish
sleep like
I
a
could
normal
sleep that
man.
long.
I'm like a naturally sleepy person, and
oh, I'm always sleepy but can't sleep.
my wife hates me because I can literally go to sleep anytime, anywhere.
You lucky.
Just like
You lucky,
out like a
lucky
light
person.
bulb.
I can
I
go
know.
to sleep anywhere, but it takes forever.
But so recently my wife's been doing like some research, and she thinks that is actually a part of my ADD that is like actually a symptom of like a medical condition that
Like
I
a
have.
minor narcolepsy kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That like because like my attention is always being drawn, that like
Yeah.
I can just like tell my brain to shut off like as a
Dang.
mechanism and go to sleep.
Yeah, my girlfriend has ADHD and she'll like micro nap, but not
Yeah.
like micro nap for like 10, 20 minutes. She'll micro nap for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So she'll just like conk out for 30 seconds, like
And just like wake up.
maybe like it used to be like once a day at like school when she wasn't sleeping a lot, but now it's like once a week. But she'll just like conk out, and then like at first I was kind of worried because I'd see her like slump over and I'd be like,
Oh no.
did she die?
Yeah, she suffered a silent stroke,
You know?
and
Yeah,
then,
she-
she's
she
gone.
died of
and
boredom.
she'll like kind of and like she'll like close her eyes and slump over, and then she'll like sit up and be like energized as if she had like a full 10 hours.
Yeah,
Dang, that's
How do
impressive.
you do that?
That's
Yeah,
ultimate
that's-
mechanism.
that seems very familiar to me.
Yeah.
But
I just crash at random moments.
yeah,
And then I wake up and I'm like, oh,
I think like when I haven't slept a lot, typically like 4:30 is like my time where it's just like really hard for me to stay awake. And what's unfortunate is when I went to Biola, like pretty much 3 out of the 6 different chapels like all start at 4:30, and so I would always like roll into chapel and immediately start to feel like, oh no, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Dude, I know.
It's always the worst too, because you know that like
3
not
o'clock
slept
for
in a
me.
chapel, yeah.
3 o'clock consistently. I'm just like, oh no.
And that's the thing, it's like I never did fall asleep, but I always felt like I was going, and like that's why I never did, is because I would like will myself to be awake like the whole time.
Yeah, I've
So it's
almost
just
fallen asleep a
hyper
couple
aware.
times at work.
Good student.
Yeah, close your eyes and pray. Just, no, if I do that, I'm gonna be out.
No, don't make me.
Like, yeah. Which, Jack, you don't close your eyes a lot of times when you pray, right?
No, I
It's
don't.
like-
I prefer to either look down or up.
yeah.
Because for me, if I close my eyes, that gives my brain too much freedom to just go wherever
Just
it
like,
wants.
your creativity takes over.
Yeah,
and you
whereas
start to,
if
like,
I
think of that
just stare
stuff.
at a spot at the ground, my brain's like, ground. Like, yes, the floor
Like, just
here
give
is
it
made
the
of
same
floor.
input for the entire
Yeah.
time.
The like
rather
whole,
than-
the like close your eyes, bow your head thing is good for kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
But like I think you have to find, like your own way to pray. Like
yeah.
yeah.
For
like,
me,
that
closing,
sounds
It's-
very like
Well, it's a
Because the
lot
whole
like
point is
college.
to
Like
avoid
as you move
distractions.
into maturity, you kind of like figure out how
Yeah.
to
like I've had people
do
say to
those
me like, "Why do you
things.
lift your head when you pray? Like, isn't that disrespectful?"
It's like,
And it's like,
man,
like-
like if I bow my head, it's more disrespectful
Yeah.
to me because I'm like, because God traditionally is up,
Yeah.
right? And if I like look down when I pray, like we have the freedom to come to God now since Jesus died,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
like there's still
yeah.
reverence, but the reverence is in the looking up
yeah.
for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that like there is
Like
kind of
looking
that
at something higher.
self-definition within Christianity. And if you look at examples of praying in the Bible, like most often it's like
I
people
lift
on
my
their
eyes to heaven.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's typically people on their knees and like people weeping
Wait,
and
you're-
crying out, and it's just like, are we supposed to do that every time we pray? We're supposed
Yeah.
to like hop on our knees and start crying,
Tear
and,
our
like,
clothes.
yeah, tearing our clothes and
Just my sackcloth.
Yeah.
making sacrifices, like what, like.
Yeah.
And I think that Jesus definitely came and he kind of changed the rules for that
Oh, yeah.
because we're apart from the law now.
Yeah,
right? We're
because
not
for
bound
me,
to it.
it's part of the having a relationship. Like if I'm talking to a friend and I'm trying to have a meaningful conversation,
So, hey, Joe,
I'm
how
not
you
going to be
doing?
looking at, I'm not going to be doing this, saying, "Oh, hey, how's your day been? Oh, great,
So
yeah."
Jack, what do
Yeah.
you think about the I don't know.
The DNI.
See, now I feel like you guys are making fun of me because people tell me that I do that a lot because like I will
Like not look at people?
well, yeah, like
Well,
I
I mean,
will
there's
like
a-
talk to them, but not like I won't like look at them to engage them before I start talking to them.
Oh, I'm so bad
I'll be
at
like
that.
working
Yeah.
on something. I'll be like, "Hey, how's your day going?" And you're just like, "Wait, are you talking to me? You didn't look over at me."
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
not,
no.
like,
Usually
sure.
I can take the cue that I
Yeah.
walked in and then you asked that.
Yeah.
But like,
But like I'm not always
mean,
great
part
at
of that-
acknowledging people
Yeah, part of that
before I
lies
engage them in conversation.
Yeah, part of that lies in the male psyche because males bond over sitting, not looking at each other, looking forward,
Yeah.
and talking. That's how they bond.
Whoa,
I
like
guess
all
this
of
is
us,
like the
right?
perfect-
now.
Yeah, this is
well, this
we're
is,
all bond.
definition.
this
we
is
are
why
all best
podcasts
friends
have
now.
taken off. Is
Yeah.
because-
Perfect definition of masculinity, right?
Yeah, right here, all of us looking at the
Look it
camera.
up in the dictionary and you see a picture of
Of tuba talk.
Actually, that's interesting. What do you guys feel about masculinity? Like,
Oh.
where do you guys stand with masculinity?
I can't help but embrace it, and it
know.
sucks.
I can embrace my role as a man,
Yeah.
right? But
Who's
oh my goodness.
Sorry. Keep going.
Oh
Keep
my
going.
goodness. Forgot to
Just
turn on
interrupted
Do
a
Not
man
Disturb.
talking about masculinity.
Yeah.
My,
Dang.
Don't beat me up.
I'm fine with embracing my role as a man,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Not to the point of where it puts down other people, though.
Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're not one of these.
the
If you don't
traditional
have a
view-
beard, then you're not a real man. Type
The traditional
Of,
view of like masculinity is like hoo-ha macho guy, got to be better than the rest. Very
Yeah.
solo,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
El
like
Solo Lobo.
masculinity is like part of masculinity is embracing yourself as men and embracing other people as men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Males as men.
Equal,
Anybody
but
can-
competition, but equal.
Yeah. So it's well, not even the competition, just the equal part,
Just the equal part.
right?
Yeah, because the competition for me typically comes in at like a cultural level, right? So
Yeah.
like
For me, it comes in at the part of just challenging each other to be better.
Well, there's
That's
that,
where
but then
it
there's
comes
the
from
putting
me.
people down. You know, the small
Yeah.
muscles, short. You know, no beard.
you don't drive a
sorta.
pickup truck.
Yeah.
Your pickup truck doesn't have monster truck wheels, lift
And then
kit,
it's
and straight piping. Who are you?
And then it's just the classic, you know, the classic cultural division.
Yeah.
Anything has, you know.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you haven't seen
Well,
this
'cause,
movie,
like,
or,
I don't
or
know,
you don't wear that
when-
type of clothes.
When I was like your age, Jack, like I specifically remember times where like people would attempt to like I don't feel like I was ever bullied in high school, but like
Yeah.
people would definitely attempt to kind of like put me down, so to speak, because like I wouldn't like catcall girls or like hit on them or like
Really?
like or just be generally chauvinistic. Well, because
Yeah.
like I mean I'm a bit older
Yeah.
than you, so like it
Yeah.
was culturally like
Different
a little
culture.
bit more appropriate, but then it was just like seen as weird. It's like, how come you don't do that? It's just like,
Like
I-
what?
I'm like,
I only
why
knew
do you
one
feel the
person-
need to do this?
One person in my high school who would like catcall the different girls on campus, and I was just kind of like, everybody was just like,
What?
Well, but like,
Yeah.
you don't do that.
well, like, but like even in like locker room talk, like we would literally be
yeah.
in like a locker room and people would be like, "Oh, this girl's so hot" or whatever. It's like, "What do
Yeah.
you think, Todd?" And I just feel like, I think that this is an inappropriate conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
and they're just like,
When-
"Why are you so weird?" And I'm just
I
like,
can
"I'm
see-
not weird. You
I
guys
can-
are the weird ones. Like, why are you
Now
talking
I
about
can
this?"
see.
Like,
Now I can see how that
Yeah,
that
right?
makes
would be
sense.
like,
I
what?
have listened into many of those conversations on bus rides for sports.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so
I have
it's
Who's the
conducted.
hottest person in the class? Jordan, what do you think?
it's like,
You know, and
it's like.
I'm like, I don't.
Yo, I think it's wrong to objectify people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, which is like a strange thing to say, but like it doesn't fit into like this ideal
We're not
masculinity.
objectifying. We're just
Yeah.
ranking them based off of how
It's
much
like-
we find them.
Oh yeah.
like
saying if they're
objects.
better or not.
Oh, isn't that in like some show?
By the way, look at
where like
like
they're all
that paint
ranked.
job on that car.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just like
that
strange.
I never get. I'm like,
strange
why are you so
things.
fascinated by cars?
Yeah.
You're surrounded by them.
But I think it's like learned behavior, right? They
Yeah.
learn this from men in their lives. They learn this from culture that they see. You know,
So now they're
it's a
imitating it.
lot like sibling culture too. I feel like suffers a lot from that. Like me and my siblings, like we didn't really fight a lot. We didn't do the like, oh, you're so annoying type of stuff. Just
Yeah.
because like we weren't allowed to. Like my parents just didn't see that was a necessary thing for us, which I agree.
Lucky.
But B, like my parents like kind of guarded us from that cultural like stereotype of like you're supposed to
Yeah.
like fight
Yeah.
with your siblings and you're
yeah.
supposed to annoy each
Infighting.
other and like
People,
My
compete with
sisters.
one another.
yeah, people always look at me and my brother, and they're like, "Wow, your boys are so
well, man.
well behaved." They like, I don't know why.
Well
I'm like a Southern belle, but
Well
they're so well behaved. They like, you know, and my mom's like, yeah, they didn't fight a lot when they were kids, and they're like, wow, you kids are really cool. And like, you must have been really great kids. And we weren't, you know, great kids. We were normal kids. We just like didn't fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And that somehow is like this huge like.
You just came to this agreement that it's just
The
like
standard for
let's just be
sibling,
friends.
the standard for like sibling interaction is like so low nowadays.
Yeah, I know. Like, and it's so weird because I feel like it's kind of almost luck of the draw on just personality. Because for me, my personality like very directly clashes with my sister's personality.
Both
they
of them,
both-
or
Which
the-
one?
or
Yeah.
the-
Both of them have almost the exact same personality.
Yeah, I see that.
But mine is the complete opposite.
Oop.
Like even just like naturally, like even on a weird base level, like my favorite color has always been navy blue, and they despise that color, and always have. And
Is that why they always get on me if I wear like navy blue with black or something?
Oh well, they're weird about that. I think it looks great. I love navy blue with black. I think it's a good compliment. But they're like, you are a heretic if you wear such clothing.
So funny.
But like, and like, they
remember-
both get mad about chewing
Yeah.
when I mean, it annoys me, but I would never be vocal about it.
And your sister would yell at me like every week at youth group about navy blue, because
Really?
blue is my favorite color.
Yeah.
I wonder if you
Me
can
too.
tell, but like,
I don't have a
it
lot
would,
on me.
you know, and I had a lot of navy blue stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd
Because
be
it's a
like,
beautiful color.
yeah, and it's
That sounds like my sister. They're both just very vocal about anything they don't like, and I try to avoid any kind of confrontation that isn't necessary.
Yeah, you just
To the
like a go
max.
with the flow type of person.
Yeah, I'm a super type B and they're a super type A.
Yeah.
And so I've always clashed, which we argue all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just always been like that. It's not like I'm like, oh, this is what has to happen. And my mom's definitely like, why can't you guys stop? And I'm just like, I'm honestly just trying to chill and they're freaking out. Help.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I'll do something because I'm also a very, like, if I see them doing something, I'm like, well, why can't we do that? Like, they'll hit each other for no reason and laugh about it. But then, like, I'll, like, kick one of their legs out or something. And they'll, like how.
whip the leg, and they'll be like,
That,
Dude!
wow,
my arm.
that escalated
like,
quickly.
Dude.
No, like
No, but you know how like, you make people's
I
leg buckle
understand
type
what you're
thing.
saying, right?
But
'Cause
it's that the whole like.
this happens a lot with my wife and I in chores, cause like I like Jack, I'm like a very go with the flow person, and she's just like, why didn't you put this away? And I was just like, I'm going to. It just
Yeah,
hasn't
exactly.
happened
It's
yet.
like it just timeline.
But also, like,
further
so it's
down.
like if she leaves out the watermelon, I'm just like, well, why can't I leave out the watermelon? I don't see what the difference
yeah,
is.
exactly.
Like,
That's not my stuff.
yeah. So it's just like one of the, I understand what you're saying. Like part of it is like you reflect some of their behavior back
Yeah,
to them, and
yeah.
then part of it is your own tendencies just annoy
Yeah.
them, and so it like triggers this whole
yeah.
event every time there's something to be fought about. I
Yeah.
can see that is the possibility.
But yep,
Yeah, family's tough.
Family.
Masculinity's tough.
being
I had-
a man dude.
Yeah, I had friends at school who were like, we want to destroy your toxic masculinity. And I'm like, do you really know me?
You wanted to destroy your
Yeah.
toxic
Wait, are these friends or
masculinity.
acquaintances?
They're
Like-
friends, but I think they meant like toxic masculinity in like general. So they're like, we're gonna paint your nails to take down the patriarchy. I'm like, cool. I guess this is an excuse to have my nails painted for once and see what
What
girls
it's
feel
like.
Yeah, like.
Exactly. It's like.
But you're just generally unbothered by it. It's not like
Yeah.
you've been a proponent of men should never have their nails painted this
Yeah.
whole time. You just
Yeah.
like, I've just never had cause or reason to paint my nails,
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
like-
why I don't do it. Like,
Yeah, I think that's probably the number one worst part of masculinity is how weird it is in concept for men to express. And where, like,
Yes.
all the ways, other than like maybe a tattoo, but like piercings, weird way for a male to express himself.
True.
Like painting your nails kind of stuff, or even makeup. It's like it's a weird way to express yourself.
Beard styling in a way.
Yeah, because if a guy puts too much effort into the way they look, they're either weird or gay.
yeah.
Like there's just no
I
in
mean,
between for you.
perceived as.
Perceived
Yeah.
as, yeah. Like I put some of my friends' favorite thing is how much effort I put on my outfits when I go to school.
Yeah.
And for my entire freshman and sophomore year, almost my entire class thought I was gay because of that fact.
Did they confront you about it, or did they just like
Oh, no.
make
But
the
then,
like,
assumption?
and then
and
you
No,
they're
actually,
like,
people have confronted me on it. They're like, wait, so like, are you gay? Have you ever been gay? And I'm like,
Yeah.
No. No part of me has
I
ever.
definitely remember conversations like that in
Yeah.
high school of people
And it was like-
questioning my sexuality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but for me, it was such a strange thing because like I don't like that's not tied to my sexuality.
Yeah.
Yeah, my roommate.
Exactly.
My roommate before we moved in at school, he like, and it was like a month in. He like told me, he's like, when I was looking at like your social media over the summer, I thought you were gay, and I'm like,
Why?
Why? He's like, oh, they're just, they were, well put together posts, and like you didn't have any pictures of you with like women.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
if you don't follow the exact idea of a man.
Yeah, there's like this secret formula that you're
Yeah,
supposed
and
to.
it's
you
like
gotta have pictures
I'm
with,
openly expressive about the fact that like at movies and stuff, like if it's a sad movie, I express that I'm sad. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of other times I don't express that I'm sad. Like a lot of people don't see me cry type stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or like complain about stuff.
definitely.
But like if I'm watching like I don't know like stinking old
Marriage
Yeller
Story.
and the dog gets shot, yeah, I'm going to be sad. It's like what's wrong with me being sad? And they're just like, well,
I don't know.
and it's like
a little weird.
everything. Yeah,
People
exactly.
don't get sad.
Yeah,
And you're
it's-
like, who are you?
Yeah, because like it's so a part apparently of people who are
Well-
homosexual to be more
I think that
emotionally
like
expressive.
that's one of the things I'm definitely like appreciative of my dad for, because my dad, like, I mean, he's definitely a lot more on the side of what would be like considered like a typical male
Yeah.
than I
Man's
am.
man.
But at the same time, like, yeah, he like cries at weddings, and like, he
Yeah.
he has no problem expressing himself when he feels like he needs to
Yeah.
express himself.
I've only seen my dad. I've never seen my dad cry. I've only seen him choke up once.
When was that?
It was weird. It was like the weirdest time.
He choked on a
like
nut.
it wasn't at my graduation.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I got a car or like I was going off to
Yeah.
college. It was my Eagle Scout Court of Honor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I can kind of see
Swelled
that.
with
Yeah.
pride and like.
Maybe
Yeah.
it was like, it was like he like had to give like a father's speech. Or no, it was when he was the scoutmaster. So he was giving a scoutmaster speech combined with like the father's speech, and it was like
Yeah.
right at the beginning. I guess because like it was I was the last one to go through scouting, like my brother, and we
Yeah.
both got it. So
Yeah.
I guess
Cool.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe at my wedding I'll catch him. I'll be like,
Yeah.
I got
Catch
you.
him off
I
guard."
cried. I see a tear.
This was all a ruse.
But like, I think like as men, we kind of have to like.
we have to put on.
We
a
have
strong
to,
act.
yeah, we have to. Well, we have to emulate the behavior that we want to see, right? And
Yeah.
so like, for me, I feel like that's a huge cultural norm, but like, I don't think that means that you're not a man if you express your feelings. Just
Yeah.
just like putting on makeup and nail paint doesn't actually
Yeah.
change like your masculinity.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think of
So-
anyone as less
Like
masculine because
dudes
of
can
how
be
they-
as insecure about like a zit or something as a girl can. Why can't they just put some kind of like blush or something on or
Yeah.
something, cover it up?
Exactly, but like culturally, it's
Masker.
like unacceptable because
Yeah.
then it's seen as a feminine thing.
Yeah.
But then like you look at ancient cultures where like all the dudes wore makeup and all the
Because
women
it was
didn't,
more
because like
intimidating.
that was just
And all
the,
the men
like,
had piercing, and all the women. Well,
Didn't.
women had piercing back.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean like,
But, like, men had
they're
piercing, too.
yeah,
Yeah.
long hair, like all some of the things that we
Exactly.
associate as feminine, like at some point in history were very actually masculine for different cultures. And
Yeah.
I mean, you look at nature. All the males have the pretty feathers in the bird kingdom.
Yeah, it's true, and there's something kind of to that, and I think that God created us to be diverse and to be different from one another, and like there's this cultural push for like uniformity, like they
Yeah.
want to make like a homogenous like
Tall,
male
buff guys.
culture.
Tall, buff.
And that's where it becomes like toxic, and then it becomes
Yeah.
toxic
Yeah,
masculinity when it's like this push to like put everyone in this one box, but that's just not how life or God's creation really works.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like for things like masculinity, it's best to look to, the gospel and look to the Bible and what God has said about who we are as his creation and what he expects from us. And I think that that's probably the best way to like live our lives. And then all the other stuff is all cultural irrelevance in terms
yeah.
of like what it means for us.
To be a man.
Culture is wacky.
Culture is
Culture's
wacky
weird.
and it's so like it's
It's so
ever changing,
pointless.
right? It's just always like this ebb and flow of
Yeah.
this, not that, that, not this, and It's just never
In
ending.
and what's out.
Yeah, but like God is like 100% the opposite of
Yeah,
that.
he's
where
just like-
unchanging about like, this is what I want. This is
One
who I
road to
am.
walk.
Yeah, and so I think that like we as Christians especially need to kind of be aware of that and
Emulate it.
take some self-inventory on like, hey, what things am I doing that might be harmful to others? Like
Yeah.
by subscribing to these cultural norms or these cultural things.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that, I think we're about ready to wrap up. We will see you guys in the next episode of Tuba Talk, Not So Normal Discussion. We love you. We'll see you next week.